Hey everyone, my name is Darla Kirchner, and I am a brand strategist who loves to work with online entrepreneurs to help them grow their brand awareness and become visible online so that they talk to their ideal client and they are successful building their business online. So we're so glad that you are joining us here for my show, which is called Entrepreneurs on the Rise. And I'm so excited to have Miss Hannah Blake on the call with us today. Hannah is so excited to have you here. So a little bit of a story. I'm a storyteller. I've been a visual girl forever, but Hannah and I actually met on Blab.
Oh yeah.
So how about this for just being, awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the seat. That way it's just us. Okay. So I've got a couple questions I want to ask Hannah because she has a wonderful story. And so for me, it's about sharing entrepreneur stories as they go up, as they're building their business. So many of us look at thought leaders and mentors, and you think of them as, wow, I want to be here, right? So, and that's great. But what about the people that are trying to get up the road? They're trying to make it, up the mountain, so to speak. And it's never an easy path, and we all know that. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to create this show, so that we could talk about our journeys as we grow our businesses. And so we want to make sure that you guys know that we want you to be a part of it and ask questions. And but we're going to kind of go through the interview. I'm going to kind of like chat with Miss Hannah, get her thoughts, and then you guys make sure that you ask questions too. But if you hold them to the end, then I'll answer them, and then we will go from there. Okay? Does that sound good, Hannah?
It sounds good. I'm ready. And thank you for letting me be on the show.
I am so honored that you're on the show. She's just so casual. And Hannah, you can tell us where you're from, which is awesome. But Hannah is a procrastination coach, and she works with solo entrepreneurs who work from home, like me. I don't know about you guys. If you guys let us know over in the chat section, if you guys work from home, give us a 1 if you work from home. Let us know. We really want this to be engaging too. Hannah's on a mission to make everyone feel like they're part of a gang and that they're not working alone in their home offices. And she helps her clients assess how they procrastinate and go deep into understanding why they procrastinate. She also, this enables her clients to overcome their frustration, their fears, and overwhelm. And gosh knows we all have that, right? So that they achieve the success that they desire. And she supports her clients through online one-on-one coaching. So Hannah, we're so excited that you're here. Oh, I see my girlfriend Africa's in the house. Thank you, Africa. So yay. So Odette says she's a number 1. Vicky says she's a number 1. So there's a lot of us here that are work from home. I'm a number 1. What about you, Hannah?
I am definitely a number 1.
Well, it's good for us. We can all say we're all number 1s, right? So
yeah, number 1.
Number 1. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Miss Hannah.
Well, as you can tell by my accent, I'm from the UK. I'm from the very northern part of England. So this is why I've got my lovely accent that people seem to love on Blab.
Especially all of us who are in the US. We love it.
So I'm kind of still in my first year. Well, not kind of. I am in my first year of business. I started in April, and I am a procrastination coach, which I love people's reaction to it because it's such an unusual title that they're always intrigued by it. So that always hooks them in because they're always intrigued about, you help people procrastinate? And I'm like, no, I help them get over procrastination.
Which, I mean, it's funny when I talk about you, and it's interesting. I did a Periscope yesterday before. I can't remember which day. And I talked about you, and people go, "Oh, I know Hannah." So
that's so cool.
Everybody's on first name basis with you.
Oh yeah. Well, there's not that many others out in the world, so because I've been doing live streaming quite a lot, people, because of the glasses and the hair as well, they like instantly know who I am. So that's a good thing.
That is a great thing. That's part of your branding strategy. And it's innate, and that's what you want, right? So yeah, that's awesome. So why did you decide to become an entrepreneur as opposed to, having an office or going at, working in a group? What made you decide to be a little powerful entrepreneur?
Well, I've always kind of been surrounded by like the entrepreneurial lifestyle. My parents run a agricultural business from home. So I was kind of born and raised with the business mindset. So I kind of was used to organizing events, being at trade shows. There's pictures of me age 4 cleaning tractors at little country shows, like there's things like that. So I've kind of always been involved in it. And I always wanted to have my own business, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so just over a year ago, I did a coaching course and I just thought, yes, that's it. I found what my thing is that I'm going to sell.
That's awesome. And it's interesting that you said that, because I don't know about everybody in our audience, but I kind of had that same little bug. I mean, my grandfather was an entrepreneur, and my father took over his business for a while, and so yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. Is there any great? I know we've talked about this in the past before too, books. I've asked you about what's your favorite books, and so. Are there any great books that you've read that you would recommend to for entrepreneurs that are coming in, or are wanting to follow in your footsteps or want to be an entrepreneur?
I think before I kind of became an entrepreneur, I was doing lots of reading. Yeah, that's a really good recommendation, there, Rob.
Yeah, it is.
I had to read a lot of coaching books as part of my qualification, and I've got it here. It's called Living Your Best Life.
Awesome.
And it's quite a small, it doesn't take long to read, but it kind of asks you questions and gives you exercises, which kind of makes you think about your current state of life and maybe what are the negative situations that you can improve, kind of create the life that you want. Mm-hmm. And obviously being an entrepreneur, your life is personal and work. It's all kind of in one. So it's a good book for that. But I've also finished an audio book this week, and I have to recommend it because working with people that overthink, who have a lot of fear, I finished reading Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule audio book, and it's like having a little push person in your head. And for my type of clients, sometimes that's good to get someone that's just like, rather than goes along with your doubts and fears, they're saying, no, you've just got to keep doing it, keep aiming high and keep pushing yourself. And sometimes we need that person in our corner to just kind of keep pushing us. So having the audio was kind of like having him in your head going, come on, Hannah, keep going. So that's quite a good one.
That's great. Now, let me ask you this, because you and I had this conversation, I think it was last week, because I had the opportunity to go to Kim Garza's Social Boom in Chicago, and you went to the Periscope Summit. She came all the way across the big pond from England to New York and came to the Periscope Summit. So we were kind of comparing some notes. Wasn't he a keynote speaker there? Or I might think it's somebody else. Was he not at this Periscope Summit, or is that somebody else?
Oh, my mind's gone blank. How about that?
I thought he was.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought I'm thinking, oh gosh, maybe I just misspoke. But I thought he was there, and he came in and he rushed back out, but he was a really great speaker. So, yeah, so I will definitely be checking out that book. And it looks like, oh, thank you, Vicki. I'll just borrow yours.
I think that books for me, they have to be a really good read to carry on reading. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's worth just trying out an audiobook. Even if you think audiobooks aren't going to work for you, at least give it a shot, because you'll be surprised how different audiobooks are. And that one was very much a punchy book where you kind of okay, I'm going to keep doing this.
Kind of keep going, yeah. And sometimes you just need that kick in the pants, right?
Exactly.
Whether it's a kick in the pants or it's, you know what, you've got this. You just need that reaffirmation that, you know what, you're still good. Everything you're doing is good. Just going to keep moving, right?
Yeah.
So, So I know that since we're talking, I'm kind of asking my questions kind of out of order here, Miss Hannah. But what keeps you motivated? What keeps you going?
A couple of things keep me going. It's probably not the regular thing of people, but I always plan fun things for the future. I always have things in my calendar to look forward to, because you need a break sometimes. Even if it's just one day, you need a special treat sometimes, because I'm always like, if you're not going to treat yourself, who else will? That's my mentality.
That is so true.
So I try and keep something, like plan something a few months ahead. So then I've got something to work towards. There's like a little deadline. So it's kind of a motivation and a little bit of a pull to keep you going.
Okay.
And another thing is a vision board.
Oh,
I'm a visual person, so a visual board is great for me. It keeps reminding me what I'm doing this for.
What your mission. So do you create an actual vision board, or you have something that you put like on Periscope or something? I mean, on Pinterest.
No, I'm a physical, cut it out,
write down,
creative. That's because awesome. I need the physical to start acknowledging it.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because I tell a lot of my clients, when they're branding, to start putting together a Pinterest board, because they can always add to that, which is great, but it can be somewhat out of sight, out of mind. So I think it's great to have, an actual visual board that you can see. I literally have something I put in my office just to remind me of things. And so I think that's an important thing to do. That's a great tip. That's a great tip. Yeah. So, I know that you work with a lot of your clients are online. Are they mostly all over the place? Because I know you live in a small little town, little quaint, cute little town. That's something.
Yeah. Of course you can. I'll show you what the best tea and cake. It'll be amazing.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, where I live, it's quite a rural place, and so if you were going to just focus locally, it'd be quite a tough one. So for me, I always wanted online, because then it meant I could be anywhere. Like I could be in America on away, like New York with Periscope Summit where I was. Right. I had my laptop with me, which meant I could work. And so yeah, everyone's online. I have quite a lot of American people. I love the Americans, and so they have returned the love.
Yes. That's awesome. So is it different? Do you feel like it's a little different working with Americans versus working with, English people?
Yeah, I think so. I think for a start, investing in a coach is much more acceptable in America, because I think the coaching concept has been around a little bit longer. Yeah. And so people are willing to take that step to invest in themselves a lot easier than us UK lot, because we're very much like, I can do this by myself. Or if I'm going to invest, it's going to be with something like an accountant,
right?
But not necessarily a coach on a specialist subject. They want something that's a guaranteed return. Right. But people are changing over here. I think they're slowly adapting to it.
And that's good. And they need to, because sometimes, because in a sense, what you do and what I do are in this is similar in the fact that it's not a product, it's a service, and for the most part. But then, it's hard to get that tangible, right? And I know I've had this conversation with my friend Africa, who was in our little, was over in our audience for a little while. So it's something that it's hard to create that tangible outcome, but to know that I think there's a lot more to it than people realize. And I know for myself, I've hired coaches, but I think in the beginning, it's hard to think about that. It's hard to think about coaches, but you get to a point where you have to have help, and you could join programs and be in memberships, but it's hard to get that one-on-one where you can with the coach. To get over that obstacle, whatever's blocking you, right?
I think we quite often think that we'll just find the information free online and then it'll push us through, or we'll buy a course, and that gets us so far. But sometimes that certain little thing that's niggling that you just can't solve, you just sometimes need to realize it's better just to spend the money than lose hours, weeks, and months.
Yeah, and that's what it boils down to. And that's funny. Africa just said, totally get the English stuff up. And Africa does a lot of coaching too. So but it's true how it gets to the point where you're just not advancing. You're not getting past whatever is holding you back. And a lot of times it's your mindset, right? It's the inside clock or those inside voices that maybe you grew up with telling you, or blocking you from getting where you want to be. So would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I think even for me, I don't to claim that I am like an expert. I have this title because I really suffered with it really bad with procrastination, and I'm still learning ways, but I know exactly how your mind can tick when you are procrastinating. And so for me, you need that outside help, or you need something to kind of bolt you up and realize you need to change what's in here, or nothing else is going to change.
Yes. That is very true. And sometimes it takes a while you'll go through a process. You think, okay, I've got this. And you're like, I'm not getting, like, we talk about like, something as simple as simple, but as important as realizing your worth, and maybe procrastinating about upping your prices,
Yes,
which is important. I mean, and you have to align yourself. And so, especially when you're trying to up your game, or you're trying to reach a new target audience, or, that type of thing, you need to think about that. So you might it would be good to talk to somebody to work through all that, which I think is somebody that, they definitely need to be talking to you about.
It's like Vicky said, it's about accountability. Often enough, because we're working alone at home, we don't have anyone there to challenge our mindset or challenge the way that we're working in any type of way. We're kind of hidden in our rooms. And so I'm often there just to be that person that they have to kind of say, yes, I'm doing this. Often that accountability is more than sometimes the mindset, because they just need someone there in their corner that's going to help push them along.
Yeah, and that really does help. I mean, I'm in. That's one of the things why I love going on Blab and meeting other people that are like us, and so that you can find those people that you can build those relationships with. And some of those people that I have had the pleasure of get to really know, I've created some great relationships with, and we've started doing like masterminds and have accountability and things like that, because that really does help you, because we all are solopreneurs. But then there are some things where it's just better to work with somebody one-on-one to work through it, to get you beyond that hurdle. And the fact that when you it's almost like Weight Watchers in a way of, once you commit to spending money and you have to do it, you have to either get on that scale or you have to talk to that coach, you want to be prepared. So you tend to, you take that more seriously. So you're good, because it's an investment, right? Mm-hmm. So you gotta put your effort into it, as opposed to if you're just like, oh, so-and-so won't mind if I don't talk to them today, because I really don't have that much to share, whatever, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to put a big enough, you have to put something on it to make it worth it. And often money is the thing that drives people.
Money drives, and it speaks, and it does. I know when I hired my first coach, I mean, for me, it was way outside my financial comfort zone, but that pushed me, so that when I was on the call with her, oh, you better believe I had tons of notes, and I refer back to them, and I learned, and I listened, and I grew because of that. So now it's not as scary when someone says, oh, well, and so I can go on and do more of that. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, so I know what motivates you. Have there been any challenging moments in your career that have really, like, wow, I really learned from that? Because basically it's what it is. It's a learning experience, right?
I think for me, it was more a life experience rather than what's happened in the last few months, because there's been lots of little hurdles on the way. It's been, and I thought I knew stuff, but I did not. Like this, I feel like I've done another degree. I'm like, this much knowledge going up. It's been insane.
Never.
But in terms of, it's quite a tough one, really, because a big challenge I had was a few years ago, and it kind of pushed me into being an entrepreneur eventually. And I was in a job, I was a social worker, and I was extremely stressed. I just didn't love the job anymore. In fact, I hated going to work. It was such a horrible feeling. And then I found out my gran was at last stage of terminal cancer. And it was all just coming ahead, and I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I want to do. I just need to get out. And I was like, I wasn't even me anymore. I wasn't happy, smiley. I wasn't the usual me. I'd kind of lost me. And so I decided one day, I just walked in, handed in a resignation. I was like, I can't do this. And so my parents were really good. They let me work in their business. I did the marketing. I did office. I did all kinds. I sold shipping containers.
Woohoo!
Who knew that I had a talent for selling shipping containers? Anyway, I did that, and it kind of got me back on my feet. I slowly became me again, and from that moment, it kind of made it was the bottom to start back up again. And I really learned a lot from that. And I kind of learned from that you can't live a life where you're in a job you don't like. Like, I don't know how long I'll live for, but I might as well be happy and try and challenge myself and give it all I've got, because you never know what's around the corner. So that was a challenging time, but in a way it's helped me know that things can get better. We'll have low and bad points, but overall, as long as you're doing something you love, then life will feel a lot easier.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. And I think I appreciate you sharing that, because a lot of times it's hard for people to share those tough things, but those are the ones you learn the most from. And I can very much relate to that. So, so I appreciate you sharing that, because and I think, as you can tell, a lot of the people here can relate to that. And those are the ones where it's a turning point where you just say, I'm done, and you almost have to it's a decision. You're either going to go through this door and you're going to shut that door, or you're going to make a decision, Yeah. And so I think, I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I think that the audience can relate to that. So thank you. So one of the things I was going to ask you, now that you are, working and everything is moving and you've got all this, wonderful things happening in your life, and I know that you've got lots of things going on, are there a couple tips that you would share with us? Some of your expert tips that you would share with us to help the people in the audience and the people that are viewing, so that they can figure out maybe some procrastination tips or things that, to let them be aware of what they're doing, so that they know how to fix it. Maybe, or what they need to come to you.
I'm going to let you into a secret. It's never easy changing old habits. It's painful at the start, but it does get easier. In the long run, it is worth it, but there is a bit of pain. However, I've got a few tips for you.
Okay,
let's get your tips.
Okay.
So what I do with the clients that I have, it's about your most valuable asset, and your most valuable asset is time. It's a precious thing that we can lose very quickly if we don't ensure that we use it in a good way. So I always ask people, are you aware of how you're actually using your time? So I get people to really write down in a diary, really detailed, what they are doing with their time, because I'm often surprised by the odd little 20 minutes here, the odd 40 minutes there. Before you know it, in your week, you've lost a couple of hours by being on Facebook or even making a task bigger than what it is because you're trying to multitask, for example. So you've really got to assess your own situation, look at your way that you deal with your diary, really write down for a week in detail what you do with your time, because you'll be really surprised if you're really honest with yourself. You've got to be honest. It only works if you're honest. Honest with what you're doing with it, because you can't get it back once it's gone. So if you learn how to use your time in a way that's going to really work for you, then a lot can happen just by that shift alone.
Yes. And that, it's funny, that's a great tip. And it's something that I don't think people, they don't block the time to realize it. So when you start to track things, you start to realize where you're spending your time. And a lot of times it's not in the areas that maybe you should be in order to move the needle, right?
Yeah.
Because you can get on there, because a lot of people ask me, I get a lot of people that ask me, oh, this is great, but how can you help me get my brand awareness better on social media? I'm like, well, that's great, but then I don't want you spending all this time on social media in a place that maybe you shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. That's a whole other topic. But then you can go down a rabbit hole, right? and you find out all this time that you're doing this, and all of a sudden hours have gone by and you're not doing anything that's going to either grow your business or grow, or get to the bottom line, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I often think it's the things that we really hate doing that take 3-4 times longer than it should. Because we're kind of we're like, I don't want to do this. You're kind of fighting with yourself, like, I don't want to do it. And often I sometimes just tell people, just if you can delegate those jobs, because it'll make everything else much smoother. You'll be happier.
Yes.
Another tip, goals. Goals are a big thing. Sometimes people don't even have goals. And I think goals are really important because you need to have that finish line. And so you need something that's going to excite you, challenge you, something that's going to keep you moving. Because if you have a goal that isn't really, say if your goal was to get a Range Rover, well, if you're not really into cars and that's not something you've really wanted, you're never going to get it because you're not really that bothered about it. The idea doesn't really excite you. If there was a house down the street that you've always wanted to live in, and that's your goal, and you surpass it every day, it really excites you. You start somehow already picking the wallpaper, and if that excites you, then that should be a goal because it really strives you and pushes you forward. And you've got to write that goal down. Put it somewhere you're going to walk past every day, somewhere that keeps reminding you, I've got to keep doing this, got to keep moving towards it, and make a date and a deadline. Because if you just let a goal pass on by, then it's not really worth it as such, because it's more of a distant dream,
right?
Rather than a goal that you will achieve. So putting a time frame on it really makes it actionable, if that makes sense.
Oh, it does make a lot of sense, and that's something that because I was teasing you about, hey, I want to come across the pond and I want to get over there. That's on my bucket list, but I have to make it a goal, and I need to be realistic with the goal too. It might take me a year, but I also need to set that goal to say, okay, I want to meet this, and how am I going to achieve? What am I going to do to achieve that goal to get there? Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Do you have any other tips, or are those are awesome?
I've got one more.
Bonus.
This one is definitely for people that work from home.
Okay.
And it's a morning routine and uniform. Okay. Because there's a lot of people that I know. I was like this when I left my 9-to-5 job. I was like, yes, I don't have the morning routine. I don't have to quickly get dressed to get my breakfast and get out in the morning to drive to work. I was like, I'm at home. I don't have to commute. However, that doesn't help you.
Right.
Because we are human. We need a little bit of routine. And so I would say create a routine that works in your house. And it needs to involve you putting on a uniform. I know that sounds very odd.
Okay.
But for me, that is a jeans and t-shirt. I'm casual. But it means that I'm not wearing my pajamas all day. It's like, because there's that thing of, I could just wear my robe and work. But in the mindset, it means you're not really in your business mindset. You are just in I'm doing this as a nice hobby. Yeah. So it kind of changes your mindset if you do put on your uniform, like plan it out the night before as if you were going to work, but also have a little commute. I know this sounds really bizarre, but have a little commute to work. So have your breakfast, and that's the thing you do before you start your work. Right. Put everything away, and then walk into an area that is a designated work area, be it a desk, be it a room, and then you get maybe a little 2-minute routine, put some music on that you listen to kind of zone you into business mode. Because if you don't create a routine that changes your mind from I'm at home to I'm at work, then you'll always be really conflicted with I'm going to do home work, cleaning something, and see that more as a priority rather than I'm here to do business.
Right. That's a great tip. And it's we are habit people, most people I know, love habits and love structure. And, I find that I'm better. Like I try to get up in the morning and do some kind of exercise, whether I try to do yoga or I walk the dogs. If I do it in the morning, then it's done. And I feel like, okay, I've accomplished something. But it's interesting you talk about, getting those routines of, getting made up like you're going to work, because it's very easy for us entrepreneurs to sit here in our jammies all day.
Oh yeah.
So I have found that if I I may be in sweatpants and a t-shirt, but if I'm online, I'm absolutely got makeup on. I might have shorts on the bottom, but I'm looking.
This fits perfect.
From here, I'm on it. I was teasing one of the girls earlier. I said, "You're going to see me in the same outfit because I'm dressed up." I said, "But I might have shorts on, but I don't. Just want you to makeup sounds back. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, those are great tips. And it looks like we got people are very much talking about about the importance of being consistent. Consistency is my word. I love that word. So being consistently reminding yourself of your goals. Then Jed's making some comments about, thanks for the blab, makeup sales and our backup. Oh, energy flows where attention goes. Very, very true. Very, very true. So, if you hold yourself in that, and it makes a big difference. It's psychological too, right? Yeah. So like yesterday's Monday. So I caught something yesterday and it was on TV. It was on a morning show thing. And it was Demi Lovato. And she was talking about No Makeup Monday and how she's doing this whole spread. And she's basically, being very transparent, very, very vulnerable. She has no makeup on, and she did the whole video shoot like that. And so I thought it was really inspiring. So I did that on Periscope. I was very, very brave, put my brave pants on and did it. And but it sets the tone. It gives you feel vulnerable. So I think it makes a big difference about, making sure that you are setting the right tone to, and keeping the right mindset as you go through your day too. So, yeah, very cool. Very cool. So, me, I'm a quote girl. Yes. And I love quotes, and so it's on a bucket list for me to do some quotes. So I've been trying to track them. So I'd love to know a great quote that you'd like to share with our audience. Because what I do is I take all this information and I make a pretty little visual for it to go with it, and we'll put that into our show notes.
Well, okay then.
Okay.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So this is by Maya Angelou, which is a very well-known person.
Yeah.
And I like this one. I've kind of always had this kind of mindset. So the quote is, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Don't complain.
Oh, I love that. Love that. That's great. That's great. It's true, because some things are out of your control. The only thing you can change is your attitude, right?
Yeah. And I get so frustrated with people that become so negative because all they do is they don't like something and they'll just keep going on and on. And I just keep saying, well, change it.
Right.
Like,
right.
To change it. No one's forcing you to so I'm like, change it.
I know. I've done that with family members, and they'll just look at me like, what? You want me to do what? It's like, you have the control to do this. And and sometimes it can be like a button that shifts on and off. And once you realize, you're like, I do have that control, and you can just switch it off. Done. Right.
Yeah.
So that's a great, I love Maya Angelou too. She's amazing. Very amazing woman for sure. So, so I think, I wanted to ask you this. I forgot to ask you this in the thing. Because me being a branding girl, right?
Oh yeah.
So what type of branding strategies are you using to build your business right now?
As you can tell, live streaming is a big part of it at the moment. I think for people that do service-based business, it's really important because we haven't necessarily got a product that someone can feel, like we were talking before. They don't know necessarily what the end product looks like. You can't do a before and after shot. Like, you can't have this is my client before. Look at them now. doesn't really have the same.
I love that.
So like we have to kind of sell our personality, kind of how we would click with someone, because if someone is a similar sense of humor, or they like how I talk and see the world, then they'll know actually they'll be quite a good person to work with. Or I'm kind of showing my knowledge in things like Blab, and so people are like, she does know about procrastination. She does understand it. So she's a good person to talk to.
Right.
So live streaming has played a really good part in building awareness about myself. Yeah. It's really helped get new connections, recommendations. So that's been helpful. But I'm also then starting to do blogging, so then people have something to refer to as well. Because when procrastination, there's so many blogs about it, but sometimes it's, let's be honest, sometimes it's just been looked for a load of productivity tips and just throw it in there, and it doesn't always make sense. So I want to make something that people go to and feel like, she actually has a clue because she's gone through it. She's not this productivity ninja that thinks she knows everything, because that isn't always how procrastinators see the world. But I kind of like to keep me, like we were saying before, it's about being you, being who you are and true to yourself. So like the glasses and the hair is all part of me. Like people know who I am. They're like, oh, it's the British girl with the purple glasses and the shirt.
But that is part of your brand. And this is something I always share with my community and my clients is you are your brand. You are the essence of your brand. And you have to be the one to share that and so you are already doing that. And I mean, I think it's amazing. And having these platforms like Periscope and Blab are a great resource, a great tool to use to help people get to understand you, so that they would want to get to know you, get to like you, and want to work with you. And so, so I think, you're doing a fabulous job doing that. And if you guys, I'm going to, Hannah's going to put her information in the, here in the comment section, but she's also I'm going to be putting all this in my blog, because I blog every week, and that's something I share with my community. And so I'll have all the links and all of her information and over at Darla Kirchner on my Darla Kirchner site. So I will definitely be sharing that with you. Okay, so what social media sites, same thing? Would you say your social media would be Blab and Periscope, or is there anything else that you would suggest that you?
I've kind of got the idea that I'm everywhere, as in Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but they're kind of, some of them are simmering in the background, and I add to them slowly.
Right.
But things like Blab and Periscope, I make a conscious effort to really put more into it. And then obviously because of them linked with Twitter, I've definitely got more involved in Twitter. I never had it before July, and I was like, I don't want Twitter, I don't want it. Now I'm like in love with it. I'm like, oh, why didn't I get onto this?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have to say, same thing. I mean, I didn't get it. I had Twitter since 2009, I think, and it just kind of sat there until I got onto Periscope, and then I got into Blab, and it's just, I love Twitter. So yeah, it's been amazing. I know that's something that, I want to, we'll have to have another conversation on Blab, but for me, it's become almost a trifecta between the three of them. I love, all of them. And it's a great way to take the conversation and grow it, and then start to build relationships from it, connections with people. So yeah, that's great. So, so then the next thing I want to ask you is, what's going on? What's on the horizon? What are you working on next?
As it is the end of the year, I'm already having to think about the start of the new year, because as you know, people love their New Year resolutions. Everyone gets that fresh feeling again. We're like, yeah, let's start afresh. And so as you can imagine, that's when people really want to invest in themselves.
Right.
Which is a really good, important thing. I think everyone needs to invest in themselves, because if you are your business, you have to invest in yourself, or you or your business won't grow and develop.
Right.
So for me, I am planning on doing a group coaching experience for people, so that it isn't just about the coaching, it's about meeting other people that you can create a relationship with. Because, like I said, you want to feel like you're kind of part of a gang, and that you've got people that totally understand your world. Because for me, not many people around me understand this online world. They're like, so you just sit at a desk and you talk to people across the globe. That's all you do. And I'm like, yes, that's all I do.
That's all you do all day long. Yeah, you don't manage everything else. You don't.
No.
Yeah, I get it. That's why when you and I get on either on Blab or we're doing a Zoom chat, we'll be on there and it'll be an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people around us don't get what we do, nor do they know how to even talk to us about it. So that's a whole other topic. Right?
I feel like I've become this mystery woman because I travel. They don't know much about where I'm traveling to or why I'm traveling. And often they're like, oh, you're in the country. Like, they're like, oh, okay. What? They don't even ask anymore what I'm doing because they just don't understand it. So it'll be funny one day if I explain it to people and they understand it. I'll be like, wow, they get it. So I think that's really important. You need to surround yourself with people that get it. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I'm kind of on a mission in a way to kind of make sure that people don't feel isolated when they work from home, because it can grind over time when you feel like no one's really understanding it and got your back. Mm-hmm. So it's
very true.
Hard.
It's interesting you just said that, because I was just having this conversation with Vicki earlier, and Vicki was here. She's in the audience, and we were just talking about how you're trying to find people that you can align yourself with who are on the same path as you are, but also because you're solopreneurs. Here I think we have similar weather. Here it's going to start getting cold, and then it's going to be December and no one's going to want to come out. And then you're going to be like, oh my God, I've got to get out of this house.
Yeah.
Try to find ways to connect with other people and push yourself out so that you can grow too. So I think it's awesome to build a tribe or to get your gang together. And I think it's fabulous, and it's needed. It's needed. Honestly.
It definitely is. And I think Blab, for a lot of people, have kind of filled that void where they're getting that knowledge that they're looking for, but also knowing that there's other people that have a similar style of working, and you can have a chat, go in depth. It's like a really good coffee shop meetup.
Right.
But it'll happen in December because you can stay inside.
Exactly. That's great. So I look forward to that. And, and when you have more of that information about your group program, let me know. And we'll definitely be putting that into the blog as well, into your blog. So thanks everybody for joining us today. I want to make sure that if anybody has any questions, let me know. You can just, pop a question into the comments, or if you want to hop in the hot seat, we do have a few minutes that I think Hannah's pretty used to having people come in and maybe asking a question. If you want to ask Hannah a question about her expertise or how to handle maybe a procrastination situation or a challenge that you're working with, then now's the time, my friends. Now's the time. So, and don't be shy. We promise we do not bite, and we can't bite you from here anyway.
We're nice people.
We're very nice people. We are very nice people. So it looks like Pamela said, helping bringing tribes together. So she was commenting on that, and that's awesome. So seriously, guys, do not feel shy. I'm going to go ahead and let me unlock the seat. I'll open the seat. Sorry. Let me open the seat so you guys, if you have any questions, and it looks like Body Works Well says, every day you're making choices that will impact what tomorrow will bring, even if tomorrow is a year from now. Making better choices. Awesome. That is a great quote. That's a great, and tomorrow could be a year from now. Sometimes it takes that time, but if you're not procrastinating on it and you're making a plan and all the awesome tips that Hannah shared with us, then you definitely will be on your way to making all the right choices so that you can make a difference in the world and for yourself, right?
Yeah, and I think an online business, it can be really hard to think of where you're going to be in a year, or how things are going to turn out, because things with internet change so quickly. And Noah taught before, and I think like as a tip for people, I would say it's about, I learned the hard way. I kind of had a fear of it because I was hanging on to it too much, that because I was calling myself a procrastination coach, that I should never procrastinate. And I realized, whoa, what am I doing? And so I was putting myself off being visible. Mm-hmm. I was being a wimp, and I was kind of hiding, which is so easy to do with online business, because
it is.
No one's going to say, "Oh, get into the online world."
Right. Right.
Because no one can see you. So I realized that I had let my mind dictate my future. And I just thought one day, what the hell am I doing? I'm in this and I need to be online. Mm-hmm. So my tip for anyone that's starting out, just make yourself visible. Even if you don't know really what you're going to be as an entrepreneur, get in those Facebook groups, help people out if you know the information. Awesome. Just be that person that people see as helpful. Yeah. Because if you're helpful, someone knows later down the path that you might be able to help them with a problem. Mm-hmm. And then that might lead into something that you didn't even know was something you were good at. Often we don't realize our strengths.
Right. Absolutely. It's so true. So I'm going to go ahead and let Body Works Wellness come in and ask a question. Cool. Okay. And so, hey, how are you?
Ladies, great to see you again.
Oh, there you are. Yay. So thanks for joining us.
I'm just making myself visible, Hannah. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, I heard you say you brought yourself. You said I was kind of hiding from everyone. I said, no way, not Hannah Blake. That's not possible. Listen, I just wanted to jump on. I'm on my way to a speaking engagement. You guys, we've connected a while back, if you remember, on a couple other blabs, and I happened to come across this, saw you guys were on the air. I just wanted to jump in and say thanks for all you're doing. Love to see the energy and the events that you guys are hosting and things like that, and keep up the great work, because you guys bring some wonderful content. And this blab thing is just incredible, isn't it? Allowing us to connect with one another, and
Yeah, it is amazing, and definitely we'll have to do a blab between the three of us too. And good luck on your speaking engagements. That's exciting.
Yeah, love to do it. Okay, you guys have a wonderful evening. Okay, keep up the great work.
So much.
Boop, boop. Bye.
Bye.
He's so nice.
Such a nice guy. That's a nice guy.
I like it.
So it looks like we've had some new people that have joined us since we started the blab, since we started our conversation. Today we have Miss Hannah Blake, who is a procrastination coach. Hannah hails from the northern part of England, very close to Scotland, right?
Yes, very close. Yes.
Very small little town. What's the name of the town, Hannah?
I live just outside of a town called Carlisle.
Carlisle. Yeah. Very cool. So Hannah's been sharing with us her journey as an entrepreneur and how she got started. And we're definitely going to be having all of this has been recorded. So this is so thank you for joining us on our Entrepreneurs on the Rise show. I'm very excited to have Hannah be my first here on Blab. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. You can either post them over here in the comments section, which I think is that way for me, right? Yeah. Or if you want to hop in the seat, if you've got a burning question and you want to know if Hannah can answer it about procrastinating or how to work with a coach. Hannah works with people all over the world. We'd also appreciate if you'd share it with a little bird like Hannah just did. So thank you for that. So if you guys have a question, this is the time to ask. Don't be shy. We promise neither one of us bite. We're pretty nice girls.
And if you're struggling to think of a question, just throw out random ones like, what's your favorite coffee? Because if you work from home, you seriously love your coffee.
Exactly. Actually, I have to tell you, I gave up coffee and I had my first decaf today. So hi, Miss Sarah. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for coming on.
So my question, because I can be a terrible procrastinator.
The first part of recovery is admitting it.
Yeah. And one of the things I realized that I do in order to procrastinate is that I make things like complicated.
You overthink things.
So
right.
I didn't catch myself. I have a coach that caught me doing that. today.
Oh,
Asked her a
today.
question about something, and she was like, "You don't need to do any of that. Just do what I told you." Right?
Oh, wow.
So how,
Wow.
like, that's my normal thing, is to like overthink, whatever. Like, I'm smart or something. Like, I don't know. So I can figure this out. Like, it's always like something I have to figure out instead of the actual doing.
Are you a type that loves to research, but never actually says, right, I'm going to start the action?
I don't know if I'm like a huge researcher. So I like to have a lot of information and narrow it down, but I don't think I'm like, I think I learn what I need to at the time that I need it. It's just that make it more complicated.
I see where you're coming from.
So like the example today was I have a one-on-one coaching program that I'm launching, and I outlined it, and then I was like, okay, well now I need a sales page before I can set up discovery calls with people.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, you don't need a sales page before you set up discovery calls. Just set up the discovery calls.
Yes.
Right. I have everything in place for that. Like, I have a scheduler, I have an autoresponder, so I could send, like, I have all that structure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What's, is this your first time kind of doing this type of thing, making it like with a sales page and everything? Is it a course?
Is it a course? No. Well, it's a program. Yeah.
It's a program.
No, this would be my third time.
Okay. Oh, okay. And that's normally with the first timers, because they're like, will this sell? Will people want it? Will they be interested? It's like the niggling voice happens in the back of the head. So
I know people will be interested. It's sort of like getting hung up on the how to do it, because I've done that before, but somebody helped me with it. So that now I have to actually do it myself.
Do it yourself. Yeah. Okay. Do you feel confident with the technical element?
No.
Or is it no? So you can do that side.
No, I can't do it.
You can't do it, right? Okay.
Right. No, I'm not like, I get how the technical piece works, but I didn't actually ever do it. Mm-hmm. So no, I mean, my virtual assistant would have to help me, or I'd have to learn it.
Yeah.
It's not like an instant thing. I mean, I had a web designer do it for me before, but
I think the easiest thing for you to do is first listen to your coach.
Right.
Just do it, because you'll be surprised that there might be people that don't even need a sales page to say, here's my money.
Right.
They might be like, tell me where and when, and I'll show up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you need to show off your skills that you've got, because if you're doing it on the third time round, obviously there's been something going on that's been going well.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I can do this work. I'm not like unsure of being able to do the work part. It's really like all the stuff that goes with it.
And what's the other stuff? Like, tell me exactly what the other stuff is.
Well, like, I'm not like inherently a marketing person. That's not my thing, right? My thing is teaching people about money and helping them and coaching them through growing their business, but not like, and I say I'm not a marketing person, and it's probably the same as people who say I'm not a money person.
Yes, exactly.
And I tell them, don't say that, right? And you'll probably say, don't say that, but it's just true. I am not, that's not my thing. Mm-hmm. But I have to market, and I can't just outsource all of it because then I don't have any money.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing for you to do is say, rather than I am not a marketer, because let's be honest, I'm not a marketer.
Right.
I am a coach like you. Right. You have to kind of be a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So rather than saying, I'm not a marketer, you're already defeating yourself before. Like, you can see it in your physical body language.
Right.
You're already like, this is not going to happen. And if you're carrying that on you, you are already saying it's not going to work.
Right.
You have to be, I can learn this.
Right.
I can learn it, because even these amazing people that sell like crazy courses, they didn't know about it before it. So they all had to start where we are. So you already have it. You're just owning this label that is slowly making you think that you're a great coach, but you can't sell it.
Right.
I know this isn't really the quick answer. As I said, sometimes with this stuff, it isn't like a magic wand and it all disappears.
Right. But then I fear that I'll take a lot of time to learn the things that I don't know. Right.
Put a deadline on it. You have to put a deadline on it. If you cannot do it, ask someone that does. Say, you will have friends that know slightly more than you.
Oh, well, I have plenty of contacts that know all kinds of things that I don't know.
Exactly. Use that. This is your one time. Use the cards and use your cards well, because there will be times when they'll need to come to you.
Right.
Say, I really need a favor right now. Can you give me this help, please? I am putting my hand up and saying, this is my area that I'm not so good at, but I want to learn.
Right.
Please just give me 30 minutes. Give me what you got. And use those people, because if I had a branding issue, I'll be like, hey, Della, I need your help. And she would do that for me, because she knows that I would repay the favor in another time.
Right. Yeah. And I have done that. I mean, I don't have a branding issue anymore, because
exactly.
That's great. Yay.
So you just have to think of that in another area, which is marketing. So
right.
Create that deadline of, I'm going to have this done by, and then write down who you know can actually has that skill set.
Right. So like in this example, the sales page example. So basically my coach said, start setting appointments and then worry about the sales page. Right. So I would listen to her, do that, and then set a deadline for the next step, which would be actually having a sales page.
Exactly. Because your phone calls will also dictate what you're going to write in that sales page.
Yeah, to some degree. But I mean,
to some degree, yeah.
I've worked with enough people, so
you'll know.
It's not like I'm brand new at this. It's really just that I'm brand new at this
little element of it.
This way, right? This method, I would say, like the whole online thing.
Okay.
Right.
It's a different animal. Online is a very different animal than doing it here. Come in my office, or let's talk. It's a very different place. So what Hannah's saying, I think, is very true. I think a lot of times it's easy to get overwhelmed because it's not in our. It's not what we're used to, right? Because you're used to doing something in a certain way, and so this is a very different place. So I totally agree with what she's saying about keeping it. Simplify it. We all overdo it. Trust me, Sarah. I mean, we all overthink, and that holds us back. So that, I think, that's the biggest thing I would say is just, try not to do that and just do one thing at a time and get it done.
Yeah.
And I think it's true. I do think that when you start talking to having the discovery calls, they're not going to just say, pick me, Sarah. You're going to have to go and, pursue them and get that out there. And how are you going to do that? Is it going to be on Facebook, or how are you going to find these people, and then trying to figure out, what are the things that they're talking to you about. And so that really might help you with your sales content, to talk to them and knowing who your ideal client is and what are their needs and all that fun stuff. So
so I've done a lot of that work.
Yeah.
In the couple of group classes that I launched. So, I have a lot of that foundation stuff. I don't know how else to put it, but and I've done discovery calls, and I paid someone to teach me how to actually do one, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Mm-hmm. So, like, I've done a lot of that work. I actually, when I first it was interesting. Like, maybe 3 months ago, I first opened up my schedule to do discovery calls, and I was like, oh, no one's going to sign up for these. And like, they were booked. Like, people signed up for them.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I know. It's like, why? You start thinking, what's going on here? But you've got an amazing thing. You've got discovery calls. Some people would be like, oh my gosh, she can actually bring them up, and she's done this before. Like, you've got a lot of experience behind you now. I hope that gives you that edge, because you've achieved a lot by the sounds of it. You just now need to start going out of your comfort zone a little bit into the technology bit, and it sounds like you are taking ownership of each area as it comes.
Yeah.
So this is just the new area.
I know, but why is it like each new thing? I'm like, ah!
I think we just have to this is awful because I hate it, and I didn't have this before. I was used to like a job where I was like, you do A, B, C, D, and that's your result.
Right.
And so as an entrepreneur, it's literally like you just have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable all the time. You have to feel like you're a student. You're constantly keeping up with the lectures,
Right.
and but it sounds like you've had success, repeated success, as they've been said in the comments. You just have to keep rolling with it. You have these discovery calls. Do them. Don't think about the sales. Do your discovery calls. Then think next step, because you're thinking 3-4 steps ahead. So just go with your discovery calls now.
Right.
Just do them. You're good at them now. You've had coaching on it. You can do them. Then go to your sales page, pick out what you need to learn how to do of that, and grab those people that will help you.
Great. That's a great answer. So it looks like,
Sorry, that sounded really pushy, and it didn't mean to come across.
Okay, I'm good with pushy.
that's great. So I hope that answered your question, and we really appreciate you being on the call with us, Miss Sarah.
Yeah, thank you.
You here. I'm so glad you're here. So regeneration, you have to tell me what your first name is, honey, because I love your tuxedo and suit.
It's John. It's John. I like it.
Is it John?
Yeah.
Okay, John. So glad you comment. So
Is
John,
this Regeneration LBC?
yes,
Thanks,
this is
John.
John. And John's saying has
I
said,
think John should jump in and tell me this live.
Yeah, he's
yeah,
done it.
well,
I got some words of wisdom here.
Do you want John to jump in? Are you okay with that, Hannah?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, is one seat locked or something?
Yeah, I locked it just so the three of us could talk. So if John, if you want to hop in and ask the question, he was asking, what do you think you're afraid of right now, Sarah? Yeah, so that's so that might be
What are you
something
afraid of?
And then, hey John, how are you?
John. Oh, I can't
Let
hear
me
you.
hear you yet.
So I just wanted to make a quick observation. I've seen Sarah on a couple of other blabs, and she's
Oh no, I'm not invisible anymore.
I mean, she's clearly competent in what she does, and all she's doing is making a change. And I'm wondering, it just feels like you're not confident in even the success that you've had. So that says, how can you make a really good leap if you're not confident in the springboard that you've already developed? And
Right.
so you got to make a decision. Either you're going to be confident or you're not. If you're not, then you need to go back to day job.
Oh
If
no,
you're
I
going to
can't.
be confident, then leave.
Oh my God, I would. No,
Okay.
it can't happen. There's no way. I mean, no. I walk dogs before I do that.
Very good. I'm just saying you have, in listening to your story,
Yep.
that should be your evidence for taking risks and making the leaps that you want to make. And you can only study for so long. Go leap, go do. We are all living, happy being spiritual experiments, and we need to be tested and we need to test ourselves. And that's what you're in the middle of. Just go do it. Like I want to get that feel of confidence from you, because you have every reason to be confident from just the success that you've had.
Right. Totally agree. That's great. That's a great observation.
Yeah, and I think it's easier to identify that for me and other people
Yeah.
Of course.
for myself, right?
You
always
have to, there's two things. One, you have to be able to use your superpowers for yourself.
Yes.
And two, you got to put your oxygen mask on first. It's just like you hear it at the beginning of every flight. If
Right.
you don't put your oxygen mask on first, you're not going to be able to help people at the level at which you are clearly gifted to do.
Right.
So, accept the mantle, walk in your faith, walk in your gift, and go use it on purpose. You know what I mean? You have it.
Right.
Yeah.
It just needs to just get it out.
Yeah.
Push it
Yes.
out.
Yeah. I totally agree with what John's saying. Live it, and just, and that will exude it to the people that you're trying to serve too.
Mhm.
Indeed.
So live with purpose. Love that.
Exactly.
Love that.
You've got so much knowledge in your head about money that I have no clue about. Like
Right.
you've got to just give it to people, because
Right.
you are here. You've obviously been given a purpose right now to do it with money. You've got to think, if I don't let others get this knowledge, I am wasting my days right now. You've got to just push yourself. You've got to push it for these little ones that you've
Yeah.
got.
Aw.
And I don't know if you covered the topic of perfection and staying, as far away from it as you can, but just don't worry about making the mistakes, and don't worry about falling, and please stay away from perfection. It's the worst thing that you could do to yourself.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Not perfect. Get it
Go
done.
fall, break bones, you're gonna heal.
Yeah, no, one of my mantras is done is better than perfect.
Yeah, that is a perfect one. Yeah.
I love that mantra, because I feel the same way, and I'm a recovering perfectionist, and that's almost as bad as being a procrastinator. I mean, because it's the same thing.
Well, it leads to procrastination, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You never truly finish, because you're always just trying to change that little thing. But it's also that quote, isn't it? Like you jump off a cliff and you make the plane as you're going down, or whatever.
Absolutely.
That crazy.
And the net will appear.
Yeah, I'm so uncomfortable with that, but I've just acknowledged that's the situation that we're in. We have literally just got to use our talent and just go with it, because if we don't, we have to just decide, that's it. I've got to go and be someone else's go-to person for their actions and let their dreams come true, rather than your own. Like, the reason we're doing it is to have this amazing life, or give a life and opportunity for our children, or for the people we love around us. And sometimes we need to be reminded of why we're doing this, or why we left an old job. Like, I do not want to go back to that job I hated. And I don't want that. I want to have a life where I choose what I'm going to do today.
Yeah, sometimes I was telling someone, sometimes I look at job ads just to be like, ah!
Yes,
So bad.
sometimes you need that push.
I can't do it.
Let me stand on Hannah's shoulders in that regard. The thing that I look at is someone needs the gifting that I have. And that's the same thing for you. Yeah, you've left something. No longer run away from that. Run to who actually needs you. So use that as incentive.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I try to talk to my clients about too, is knowing if you know who they are, then you can really start talking to them. And if you know what your purpose is, knowing what your individual purpose is will really help you and remind you of why you do what you do and who you serve. So
helps a tremendous bit.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Well, thank you for being on the call with us, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you all some props.
Yeah.
Great work you're doing. I'm watching from the sidelines.
Thanks, John. I really appreciate you jumping on.
You guys are here. You guys can follow them. I'm going to follow Sarah. I'm going to follow John. Yeah. So this is great for all the people that are here that are just new to Blab. You can follow these guys, and that way when they do a Blab, you can hop on their Blab, because they're offering great value here. And thanks for being brave and coming on and
thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for coming on.
Thanks, John, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Okay.
Sarah, that was a big thing to come on here. And
it was a big thing. It really was. It really was. So I think, it's about 5:11 right now. So we've run, a little longer than but I also want to give people the time to talk and stuff too. But I also want to honor people's time too. So especially yours, Miss Hannah, because I know it's getting late there for you.
It's just after 10 p.m. I've turned into a nocturnal person now due to these American meetings and clubs.
Oh, it's so funny because you're. Oh, thank you, Pam, and I forgot
Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah. I just drew a blank when I saw your picture over there. Thanks so much for being on the Blab and for bravely coming in and talking to us. And for John, thank you so much about for you guys coming on here. And I know that for me, I have to say, Hannah, if it was 10 o'clock my time, I would be in my jammies.
Yeah, I've always been a night owl, so actually this is a great excuse.
Yeah,
to kind of have these working hours that I want.
And that's part of the beauty of being an entrepreneur, right? We can work when we want, and we can stop
Exactly.
when we want, and we can work anywhere. So, so really appreciate all your insights and for you sharing your journey and your story. That's part of your brand. And it's part of, you know, why people are attracted to you and want to work with you. And so, so I know Hannah put her information in here. I'm going to put in here, if you guys want to sign up to join my community, I will be putting this over on my blog, or you can come over on my blog and see it there. And this was a good place for you to, this whole thing is being recorded, so you'll get all of Hannah's contact information, the books that she suggests to read, and her favorite quote, and all the other goodies will be over there on the blog post, which is going to be going up today. So I'll have all of her information on the blog post. So really appreciate you guys joining us here. If this is something that you think resonates with you, we appreciate you guys sharing it. And if you'd like to be interviewed and you'd like to talk about, you know, your story, because that's what I want to do here, is share people that are rising up, people that are taking the journey and sharing what's working for them and how they've gotten to where they are. And so to me, it's what it's all about. So I appreciate you guys being on the call today. And my puppy is barking, so I apologize. Stay inspired. Thank you, John. I definitely believe that. You know, this is to help us all stay inspired on our journeys and to know that we're not alone, right, Hannah?
Exactly. As you can see just by that example before, we all have fears, we all have doubts, we all have things that's stopping us, but sometimes we just need to let it out, discuss it, and move forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so hopefully you guys have all learned a few things along the way. We appreciate you being on the call with us on the show. Thanks for helping us celebrate our first one, Miss Hannah. I'm so excited. Yay! Thanks, Jed. Thanks you guys all for being here. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys. I'm actually going to be doing another blab on Friday. And so that's, I think, it's where I actually met Hannah, was on my co-collaboration show. Yeah, so I'm hosting 2 shows. I'm getting my brand awareness out there. But it's a lot of fun, and I love doing this. So yeah, so thank you again for everybody for joining us today. You guys have a great day, a great evening, wherever you are in the world. And we will see you next time over on Blab. All right? Take care, guys. Bye.